We move on now to the second explained question from the 2024 Foundational Catholic Theology paper. Now, this paper throws up a slightly tricky question here because this second explained question is very, very similar to the first. And rather than looking at the creation of humanity, it's looking at the origins of the universe. Now, this does mean, of course, that there is going to be likely some repetition, either of ideas, sources of wisdom, and certainly scholars. Now, what's really important to note here is that within these two answers, it is highly unlikely that the same examiner is going to have marked both answers. It is nigh on impossible that the examiner would recognise that one answer was written by you and then the second one was written by you also. So what that does mean is that you are able to duplicate some content, whether that be sources of wisdom, scholars, or just general ideas. Now, obviously, you can't repeat content within a single question because you won't get credit for it, but you can use the same idea multiple times throughout the paper. So I'm going to answer this question slightly shorthand. If you want to see the longer form of the answer that I gave to the first explained question, go back onto the channel and find that one. So if we have a look here, explain for me the Catholic Christianity or Judaism or two Christian traditions. Now, in the same way as I did with the last one, I'm not going to worry about the Catholic and the Jewish. I'm going to go Roman Catholic and I'm going to go fundamental Christian. So, origins of the universe. So I'm going to start with firstly, and hopefully by now you'll know that I'm going to go secondly and I'm going to go finally. So, origins of the universe. I'm going to talk about the fact that Catholics agree with the Big Bang. And here you can talk about Father George Lemaitre and his scientific inquiry that led to the discovery of the Big Bang. You can talk about Pope John Paul II saying that there is no conflict between science and religion. So that would be paragraph 1. Secondly, and this is where I borrow heavily from the first explained question, Catholics see or believe the universe as being made out of nothing, which of course is creation ex nihilo, and that comes from Saint Augustine. Now, within this answer, in this way I've set it out here, I've made a clear difference between the Big Bang, Lemaitre, JP2, and how I would go about that one, and ensured that St. Augustine is very separate to that. Now, if you were so inclined, you could create, rather than two slightly smaller paragraphs, you could create one kind of mega paragraph. We'd have to make sure that the examiners can see that there is a definite difference in this idea and that idea. Okay? And then you're going to have your finally, which is going to be fundamental Christians. And this is going to be creation according to Genesis 1. And with this final paragraph is going to look very similar to the final paragraph, the first explained question, because again, you're going to be explaining the same viewpoint. It's just from a fundamental point of view, it's the same viewpoint, just rather than focused on creation of humans, it's the creation of the whole universe. So just ensure that you've got that clear delineation in your paragraphs and that you're using those sources of wisdom, and ultimately don't fear the fact that there is going to be some thematic, or some repetition within the use of your sources of wisdom.